Hey everyone, this is Steve Jr., the creator and host of The Criminologist. Today's episode is the story of a fugitive, Frederick McLean, whose time on the run has finally come to an end. The United States Marshals Service is the nation's oldest federal law enforcement agency, having been founded in 1979 as the Office of the United States Marshal. The Marshals, similar to the FBI, maintain an ongoing most wanted list. The Marshals' most wanted list is composed of the 15 most dangerous fugitives in the United States, all of whom are wanted for a multitude of disturbing and violent crimes. One of those fugitives was a man from San Diego, California, Frederick McLean. In 2004, a then 53-year-old Frederick was an established member of his community in Riverside, California. Frederick was also a member of his local Jehovah's Witness congregation and was considered well-liked and influential among his fellow Jehovah's Witnesses. Frederick and his wife made close friends with neighbors and other members of the congregation. One neighbor, Deborah Wesh, recalled in a 2014 CNN interview how her family became quickly acquainted with the McLean family. Deborah said, "We started doing family things with the McLeans right after their daughter was born." Deborah recalled, "They wanted to go on vacation with us in the summers. They invited us over to dinner a lot. So we ended up doing a lot of things with the McLeans." Deborah's now adult daughter, Andrea, described in the interview how Frederick had a particular interest in spending time with the children. Andrea described how Frederick would go out of his way to take Andrea to the arcade, for ice cream, and other hobbies that children would enjoy. Andrea explained that eventually, herself and her brothers would begin spending the night at Frederick's house. Andrea further detailed how Frederick began sexually abusing Andrea starting when she was only 8 years old, and that this pattern of abuse would continue until Andrea was just 13. Andrea was not the only victim of Frederick. In fact, Frederick would prove to be a serial pedophile, as time would tell. In the spring of 2004, Frederick's web of secrets finally came crashing down on him. Frederick was confronted by another young female member of the Jehovah's Witness congregation who directly accused him of having molested her. Frederick broke down and admitted to his crimes publicly, confirming his guilt to this girl, his very own wife, and others of the congregation. The San Diego Sheriff's Department was made aware of these incidents and began readying their investigation. Frederick had other plans, unfortunately. Frederick began to sell nearly all of his assets as his wife left him and his own family disowned him. Then, he simply disappeared, vanishing before he could face the repercussions for his actions. By the summer of 2004, Frederick was nowhere to be found, as he would be charged with 15 counts of sexual assault on 4 different children. For 17 years, the San Diego Sheriff's Department and the U.S. Marshals would tirelessly search for Frederick, chasing down every tip or lead that was presented. Frederick's disturbing crimes and effective disappearance would lead to his placement on the U.S Marshals 15 Most Wanted Fugitives list. Frederick's crimes were so severe that he would even be featured on the first season of Investigation Discoveries In Pursuit with John Walsh. As for the matter of Frederick's involvement in the Jehovah's Witness Church, families of the victims would quickly file suit against the Jehovah's Witnesses as a whole, complaining that McLean's local congregation and the Jehovah's Witness national leaders had a responsibility to protect the congregation from a pedophile such as Frederick McLean. The Jehovah's Witnesses settled these lawsuits without admitting wrongdoing. Despite this civil success, Frederick's life on the run continued as he enjoyed an undeserved freedom. Frederick's time on the run would eventually end in November of 2021. On November 6, a concerned neighbor in Seneca, South Carolina, decided to check on their elderly neighbor, an older, mysterious white male whom they had not heard from in weeks. This neighbor conducted a welfare check of their own and located the elderly neighbor inside of his residence, deceased, and the body decomposing. Law enforcement was contacted and they completed the investigation of their own. And in this investigation, they made a shocking discovery. This deceased, mysterious elderly man was eventually identified as none other than one of the world's most wanted fugitives, Frederick McLean. U.S. Marshals Service Director Ronald Davis commented on this discovery, stating, "The discovery of Frederick McLean's body marks an end to the manhunt, but the investigation continues. It will be discovered that Frederick had lived in this Seneca, South Carolina home for 15 years while using the alias of James Fitzgerald. It was reported that Frederick also spent time living in the state of New York and other cities throughout South Carolina. The U.S. Marshals are continuing to investigate this case as they aim to discover whether Frederick had received any assistance while on the run. Due to Frederick's atrocious crimes in California, the U.S. Marshals also have obvious suspicion that Frederick may have continued to victimize other minors during his near 2-decade time on the run. Thank you everyone for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Criminologist. I am your creator and host, Steve Jr., and until next time.